Okay. So let's take our circles, our hip circles, and we inhale as the hips come forward and exhale around and back. Welcoming the body to this experience. I had a modern dance class this morning with my teacher in Berkeley, and she said, let yourself have a cellular experience. Whatever that means for you. She just said, let yourself feel your body. She said she had been feeling a little more stiff in recent times for a number of reasons, and she said it was really helping her to imagine feeling it on a cellular level, because that's where we're made of, water. That's where we're juicy. Inhaling all that wonderful movement and breath. Inhaling and exhaling, and feeling that steadiness and that stillness of the body, the feet on the planet. It can be windy outside, and a centeredness in our yoga is a nice thing to tune into. So just warming and loosening the hips. And we'll change direction when you're ready. Inhale forward, exhale around and back. I wonder what Mike is doing, because he's, I wonder what his sports affiliations have branched into. Inhaling and exhaling. Maybe I'll email him and just bother him for a sec, not to come necessarily to class, but to just say, hey, we were talking about you. Inhale forward, exhale around and back. He's good comic relief in the class. That'll be nice to get back to when we do. And we'll take the shoulders next. So let the hips come to center and just spiral to center. Good. And then we'll take the shoulders, inhale, up, exhale, around and back. So my dance teacher who talked about the cellular experience, her dance training, she was a professional dancer in New York with Eric Hawkins. So she comes up with these esoteric things about the body, kind of body philosophy is what she calls it, I think is what her teacher called it. Inhaling up, exhale around and back. We create this body poetry as a way to center and take a breather and make something beautiful, make some art. Inhaling up, exhale around and down. Good. Good. And changing directions. Inhaling, they come up. Exhale around and forward. Lovely. Nice, easy breath on the movement. Good. Good. We'll draw the shoulders up toward the ears for good measure. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And slowly down. I've just needed that one a lot. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. Good. We'll take it once more. Inhale, shoulders come up. Squeeze till it gets a little achy, and then all at once, audible sigh. And then really let it go. Give yourself a sec. Just that internal perception of really seeing where you can let it go, and then we inhale so that we have that lovely exhale as we let the head come around and forward and up. Kent emailed, and he and his wife were going to connect today, but I don't know if they were able to find the link. Inhale and exhale around. And up and around. Inhaling up and exhale around. Good. And let's choose one of our in-breaths to come up and stay up with that head. Good. And you pause there in the center, and then as you inhale, you then have that exhale to come around the other side. And up and around. And up. We'll take a couple more. And around. So in the East, there's a different pace, and there's more emphasis on repetition so that your body really comes to know it, the movement. In your mind and your body, really have it with you. Candace and I have talked about how much body memory brings up the philosophy even. So we'll bring up the head on an inhale and pause in the center. So in India, they'll give a student one exercise to do for 12 years. They'll give them this one where you let the wrists flow up and then flow down. Let's take that for a sec. And then you get to know it on a body level, a mind level. Exhale, the wrists float down, fingertips follow. And we could say, because of my dance teacher, you get to know it on a cellular level. So it's part of you. Inhaling up, exhaling down, and it's part of coming home. So that just this is really satisfying. My teacher would talk about just finally being able to twiddle her thumbs under the table at a meeting and feel very relaxed. Because that's a rotation, right, with the thumbs. Oh, and it would just cue her whole body into the yoga. Good. One more time. Inhale. It's like a wave, a soft wave comes up under the arms, and then it subsides. Very nice. Good. Yes. And then let's take our gentle twist. So our tassel twist, starting small. Arms are heavy as they come around and tap your body. And then perhaps the movement gets a little larger as the body warms and loosens. Or maybe not, and it doesn't matter. And then as you feel complete, you let the body rock you to a stop. Good. Yeah, very nice. And here I wanted to let's first take our hands to our thighs for our back warm up. So we inhale here, exhale, glide the hands down, and you just come to your letter L shape. Get that length in the spine. Yes, reaching through the tailbone and through the crown of the head. Good. Good, and then we roll it back up. Very nice. We can take that one more time. Inhale, the hands at the top of the thighs, and you glide down to rest on the thigh bone. And long, spacious spine. Feeling all your cells alive. My teacher was saying how our skeletons, we have to remember that they're very alive, the cells in our bones. Yeah, good. And then rolling up. Very nice. Good. So I just wanted to take one brief revisit of our balancing poses from last time. And what I want to do is take the side log, and I'm going to just, first let's just rock side to side and get used to that. And then we'll take our side log and practice that. But just inhale one side, exhale the other side. Right? Good. Coming through center each time your body really knows, every time. Good. So you're sort of rocking yourself. People do this really naturally when they're holding a baby. They kind of rock side to side. Our bodies love that. Good. And then we pause in the center, bring the hips balanced under, the feet balanced under the hips. And then let's just lift one foot and we step over our log to the side, shift the weight to the side, and then you step up and back over your log. We'll take that one more time. Lifting the knee, inhale, exhale, down the foot comes to the side, shift the weight. And then we come up with the knee and center. Yeah. And then here I wanted to take this moment to show you this variation, which is a nice piece. Here we inhale, the knee comes up, and this time we don't shift the weight. We just touch with the toe. Aha. And then we inhale that and come back to center. And notice how that is for the balance. Yeah. Inhale, take it in again. You can let the arms come out for balance if that helps. Inhale, exhale, touch the toe. And up, inhale, and back to center. And noticing how that calls on your inner resources in a slightly different way. So we'll take the second side. Inhale, we'll do it the first way to begin. Inhale, and then exhale, shift the weight. Inhale, up comes the knee, and exhale the foot down to center. And again, inhale, lift, exhale over the log, inhaling up and center. Good. And now I'm going to take the second variation. So arms out for balance or at your sides, whichever you like. You could hold on to a table if you have one near. And here we're going to say, inhale comes the knee, and then exhale, touch the toe to the side over that log. Good. And then inhale, it comes up and center. And then we pause, inhale, exhale, and draw the knee up, and exhale, touch, and then lift it over the log once again, back to center. Good. So noticing how you have to draw into your core to help that happen, and that is a very nice focus for the mind. Yes. So let's take our rotations down to the floor. So let's take our squatting pose to transition back to the floor slightly. And you might like to get your drink of water or move your camera so that you can see. And I'm going to take a little sip of water. Good. So let's just take the knees wide, the legs wide, and we'll take our circles. Here, inhaling and exhaling around and up. And exhale around once again. And up. Just easing into gliding over the limits and respecting the limits of the body. Feeling all your cells luxuriating in the movement. Good. And then we'll exhale, inhale up to center and exhale over the other direction. Still inhaling up, exhaling around and forward. Good. Good. And letting the thigh crease deepen. So yes, in the East, there's a different pace and a lot of repetition as a time-honored way to teach. So doing a lot of things that are familiar and you go deeper and explore. And you rest and lean into the poses more and more. Maybe philosophically, maybe emotionally, maybe physically, all of the above. And my teacher would say that way you get to know it in your body and your mind, or maybe even your soul. Good. So inhaling to center on one of your next inhales, coming up to stay up. Yes, and we'll bend one knee and take the other one, leave it straight. And I let you choose which side, because some people's Wi-Fi, some people's cameras are mirroring me and some are the opposite. So you get to choose. Inhale and exhale over the bent knee and around and up. And that way you can mirror me the way you see me, which is what we do in class usually anyway. Inhaling up. And exhale around over that knee and forward. Nice rotations. Good. And let's come back to center, inhaling up. Yeah, inhale, exhale to center. Ah. Good. And draw that straight knee in, lengthen the other one, inhaling here. So that you have your exhale as you come around and forward over the bent knee and up. I find that if I do a little bit of yoga, very first thing in the morning, maybe have a glass of water and then just get back to the floor, or even if I go straight from the bed to the floor, then I can't get distracted by other things. And my day just feels so much different when I don't do it. That is very, very noticeable. And people say that about meditation also. Inhaling still as we come up, exhale around and forward. that doing it, if you do it in the beginning and the very early part of your waking up, then you make sure you get it in. Yeah, inhaling up, exhale around. Good. And then we come back to center. Yeah. Inhale and exhale right in the center. Doing nothing but breathing. Erase that chalkboard. Good. And let's bring the soles of the feet together. And what I'll do first is I'll lengthen the spine nice and long. Nice and spacious. Grow your spine long. And then exhale, you let it round. And let the chin just release toward the chest, any amount wherever it lands. Yeah, inhale and grow that spine. And exhale, you round the back. You don't have to round it a lot. You just you release the efforting of making the spine straight, and then it tends to round just slightly. Yeah. And then here we can take a butterfly motion with the knees and a Bhastrika breath. And let that go. And we can take this long spine again, drawing it up. And exhale, you round. Something so nice and deep can happen here. One more time, up. And exhale, let it go, release. Yeah, and then you draw the head up to center, and let's take one more pump of our butterfly knees. And that dog pant through the nose. Aren't these wonderful things the yogis came up with under the mango trees? Good, and we let that go. Good. And now let's I'm going to extend one leg, bend the other, and keep that leg straight in front of me relatively. If your knee is a little bent, that's just fine. But the angle of it is right in front of me, yes? And so what I'm going to do is inhale, the hands come up. And then I'm going to round the back slightly, draw the navel toward the spine, and then the hips jump the traces over the thigh bones, and you land wherever you land. That's the one. And you let the hands just rest on either side of the shin. Some people touch their toes here. You know, if you go to the gym, that's kind of the way they do it. But my teacher always had the hands like outriggers. And it's kind of a nice, subtle variation where it's not quite so performance oriented. At least that's how I read it. So let's let the spine be long again in an arrow, like an arrow shooting diagonally up toward the sky. Yeah, so you're just hinged or folded at the thigh crease there. And then you exhale and let the head come down toward the knee. And breathe there, keeping that navel drawing in toward the spine to protect that low back. And these forward bends can help to quiet the mind. I don't even know if are they even having sports like regular now? I haven't kept up with that. I'm sure Candace knows. But speaking of Mike, I don't know if he's still involved with the Giants or if they're on pause. I know the season is changing now, but we'll have to debrief each other on the Giants season. Just inhaling and exhaling. And these forward bends are so calming for the mind, which we could use, or I could use at least these days. I just noticed that my body is a little stiffer since we're, inside a little more. And I think it's also a good impetus to get outside a little more. And then that's excellent. And then we draw the navel toward the spine and roll back up. Sometimes I get so used to being inside, I forget that I don't have to do that all the time. It's like I'm playing, I don't know, there's some I'm accustomed, and really I could take, a little more a little more of a walk or something. We can give ourselves more self-care. So let's draw that straight leg in and extend the other. And, let's just take it on the other side. Inhale, hands come up. And round that spine, draw the navel toward the spine. Jump the traces like a horse over. And let the hands land where they land, which is the beauty of how my teacher teaches this. Good. And you just let the spine be long at first. And then you let it round. Not a lot of rounding, but there's this head toward the knee sort of release. And breathing there. So yeah, sometimes I think to myself, oh yeah, being out in nature will be very grounding. I should do that just a little more this week than I have been. Sometimes I'll go on a walk in the neighborhood, but I was like, wow, maybe I could find a nice hill and some dirt. Yeah, very grounding. And I did that earlier in the year, and just recently, not as much. So it's always nice to recall what made you feel good before, whatever that could have been, and see if you could tap in again. Breathing here. Couple more breaths. Good, and draw the navel toward the spine and rolling back up. Good. Very nice. And let's take a centering breath. I'm going to draw the feet, or draw the legs into a comfortable seat. For you, a comfortable seat might be legs extended. It's up to you. I'm going to take an inhale up and then pause. Exhale, hands down through the center. Yes. Inhaling up. Pause. And exhaling down through center. Good. And then let's just take our feet or our heels toward the floor with knees bent. Yeah. And then I'm just going to let myself reach through the middle and fold forward any amount. And release the head down. And I'm just taking a few more rounds of breath if it's feeling good. Good. Noticing any nice big sighs. Good. And drawing yourself back up. Good. And let's just, for good measure, take the legs out long in front of us. Good. And like I'm going to repeat from the other movement, bring the arms up on the inhale, jump over the traces, round the back, and then you bring it over. And then the hands land wherever they land, on the shins or wherever you go. And here, just folding at the thigh crease at first, and then you fold and warm yourself down and breathe there. So if you haven't noticed, I'm doing quite a number of forward folds today because some of us might feel some relief about certain topics in the air, and some of us might be on the edge of our seats. So it's nice to let the mind calm down and come back to the body. Good. And then we roll back up. Very nice. Very good. And then let's take a few cat-cows. Just take your table pose and take the wrists under the shoulders, knees under hips. And let's just take a few rotations. Hips come back and around toward the heels, and then other side and around and up. And around. Exhaling as you come back, inhaling as you come up. Good. Letting yourself make it juicy. Good. And then we change direction. So pause in the center and then exhale around and back toward the heels with the hips. Inhaling up. And exhaling back. Good. And maybe taking one or two more, and then you let yourself come back and rest in child's pose when you wish. And arms can be extended out in front of you with the hips toward the heels, or the hands can rest by your heels with the forehead toward the floor. A couple more breath cycles here. Good, and then you can roll on back up to a seat, and let's come on down to the floor, and we'll just take some windshield wipers. Good. So find your spot on the floor. And let's take the knees over to 10 or rather to 11 and 1 first. Just rocking side to side, breathing in on one side. Exhaling on the other. And I wanted to mention for those of us who have been doing this for a while, which is most of us, this Nadi Shodhana breath, so that you can take the inhale into the left nostril as the knees come up from the left. And you don't have to touch your nose, you just imagine it. Yes, and then exhaling through the right nostril as the knees come toward the right. And it's like a rainbow. Inhale through the right nostril to come back up to center. Exhale through the left nostril to come down to the left. If that's more than you feel like thinking about this fine afternoon, you can just let it go and do your windshield wipers however you like. But if you like to give your mind a job, this is a good one. Inhale through the left up to center. Rainbow over to the right, out the right nostril. So the knees almost inform the breath. Inhale, that physical big movement. Inhale up through the right nostril, and up come the knees from the right. Exhale left, And rainbow again to the side to side. You just do it on your own breath pace. And I'll give you a few rounds of breath to practice that. So still inhaling. First through the left nostril is how I was taught. You start with the left nostril. And then knees come to center, and then you exhale through the right nostril as the knees release to the right. Inhale right. And exhale left. Inhaling. Rainbow up and rainbow to the side. Exhale. Anyhow, I find that using the windshield wipers with that breath, which my teacher Peggy practices, she emphasized that when you breathe with an intention through one of the nostrils, it actually happens. So sometimes we close a nostril with our thumb and finger, but in this practice, we just imagine it, and it really does happen with practice. Good. Very nice thing here to calm the mind if you ever need that. Balances the right and left side of the brain. And in another session, we can visit how breathing in and out, breathing just in and out through the left nostril focuses the right brain. And breathing in through the right nostril focuses on the left brain. But that's another session. That's just a preview. Good. So letting the knees come back up to center. And if the knees are kind of wobbly or jiggling, that's a good sign. It's letting the body let go of tension. Yeah. Some of that deep tension gets released, so there's no need to try to stop that shaking from happening. That's a good thing, if you notice that ever. Good. And then coming to center, draw the knees into the chest. Maybe lace the fingers over the knees. And drawing in on the inhale, draw the knees toward the chest. Good. And then release the squeeze, but not the knees. One more inhale. And exhaling. Good. I'm going to bring both feet gently down to the floor and bring one ankle. I'm going to bring my right ankle over the left knee. Good. And then thread the needle, draw the left knee to the chest. Thread the arms around the left thigh, or the hands rather, clasp under the left thigh. And flex, be sure to flex the right foot in order to protect the knee. Good. And if you were getting enough stretch with the foot on the floor and the ankle over the knee, you go back to that spot and just breathe into that. If you like to clasp hands behind the thigh, you can draw the knee in toward the thigh, or the thigh in toward the chest, any amount rather. Feeling that breath go to the right outer hip. Good. The piriformis muscle there, we can hold tension there sometimes, and this is a nice one to get into that. Good. Lengthening the left leg and flex the foot so the heel's toward the ceiling. If you want, you can stay there. If you want to bring the hands up toward the shin or the toes, you can. Your choice. Remembering to keep flexing that right foot so the knee is happy. Good, and you let that left knee bend. Draw the knee in again, once again. Good, and then we let that left foot find the floor, but keep the right ankle on the knee. Yeah, and then let's just roll toward the left. And let that right foot kind of find the floor. If it does, find the floor. If it doesn't, then you just land wherever you land, out in space a little bit, and you let yourself take a gentle twist. And releasing into that. And you breathe here. Good. Nice. And when you're ready, maybe let's take a couple more breaths, reminding ourselves that we can take our time. Reminding ourselves to exhale. Good. And then we can draw that assembly back up to center. Good. And then I'm going to cross those very same legs at the knees, right? So instead of a figure four, the knees are close together, right? Stacked on top of each other. And then I'm going to draw the knees up toward the chest slightly, and then draw those knees over to the right and wherever they land. And mine don't come all the way to the floor. I don't know about you, but I use my left foot to sort of prop myself wherever it's sustainable for a little twist to the left, or to the right rather. Now we get a little opposite twist here, which is energizing for the body, refreshing for the nervous system. Good. And draw those knees back to center. Unfurl the knees, uncross them, and gently the feet find the floor. And we just take a breath in and out right here. Good. And let's take the left ankle and cross it over the right knee. And let that left knee fall out to the side wherever it lands. And here is possibly just right, and right where you want to be. If you would like, you can draw the right knee into the chest and clasp behind the right thigh. And flexing that left foot always here, we draw that leg, that knee toward the chest. If you want, you can just flex both feet, and then you don't have to think about which one. But it's the one that's crossed over your knee that matters in this one. And we draw it in, inhale and exhale, release the stretch a little, vary it a bit. And just breathe into that left hip. When we do a lot of sitting, that gets a little tight, and that can be a lovely thing to create some freshness in the joint. Yeah. Good. And then if you want, you can reach, you can extend the heel of the right foot toward the sky. You can reach up toward the shin or the toes if you want. All of that's optional. So nice for the whole low back when we stretch our hamstrings a little bit like this, or any way you can. Good. And you can release the hand from the foot, bend the right knee, maybe draw the right knee into the chest once more. Good. And then the right foot finds the floor slowly. And then let's take the arms out in a gentle T position, a relaxed T position. And I'm just going to coax my body over toward the right. So the left foot kind of finds the floor or wherever you land. But that's the direction. And you breathe there. If you want, you can look over the left shoulder very slightly if it's available to complete the twist. Or you can just let the head be straight on the spine. And some people say then the energy comes right up to the third eye, which is pretty cool. Both options are nice. Breathing here. Exhaling here. Feeling all of your cells, experiencing that. Feeling that juicy, luxuriating, seeing if you can make it easy in your body. Backing off to make that possible. Good, and then draw yourself up to the center with that assembly. I'm going to cross the knees over each other this time so they're stacked. So knees are still crossed, or legs are still crossed, but this time at the knees. Good, and then this time draw the knees toward the chest a little bit. So you've lifted your feet off the floor, and then you let yourself rock over toward the left, and you just rock to wherever you land, somewhere over to the side. And my knees are at quite a bit of a diagonal. They're not anywhere near the floor personally, but you might be more flexible than me. And so you go wherever you land. And backing off where it might feel good to back off. Play around with where you feel the most interesting stretch and also the most sustainable, which is a lifelong practice in our bodies and our lives. So we get to practice it in our yoga, that sustainable stretch that you can hold for a while. Yeah. Couple more breaths. Yes, and then you draw yourself back to center and lift the left leg. Let the left foot find the floor. Good. And breathe into the belly. Let the body reintegrate after the twist from side to side. Breathing so that we can tease out any tension in the low back. Breathe into the belly. Good, and then breathing into the chest to let the release of any tension in the upper back, just letting it happen, not trying to make it happen. Feeling your body print in the sand. And imagining the sand beneath you is warm from the sun. And just breathing a few rounds of breath right there. So we can take our mini shavasana in the middle of the practice or not at the very end. You just pause for a sec or two and you get your zero moment. Your mini samadhi or your mini meditation. And I noticed just for myself there, a yawn just sort of arises. It sort of just, it sort of percolates up. It sort of comes upon me in a way that's so relieving. So you let that happen if it comes up. Good. Good. And then let's just take the knees again toward the chest. And then echoing our butterfly knees from earlier in the practice, we'll open the knees to the sides, somewhat wide, and then let the hands come to the ankles and we can take our teardrops. And if you want to lay in your Shavasana here, feel free. Sometimes it's nice to move and sometimes it's nice to be still. So you get to do what you like here. And you just let my voice roll on by if you'd like to just take a Shavasana starting now that's a little longer. So inhaling, draw the ankles toward the chest. Good. Exhaling, you release that squeeze, that stretch. Inhale, draw the feet up toward the sky, still touching the feet. Teardrop shape with the legs. Inhale there. Yes, and then exhale, you draw the heels back down and rest. Take a breath in and out. Good, and let's take it again. Draw on an inhale, the ankles toward the chest. Exhale, length, let that release. Good. And then inhale, teardrop. Feet toward the sky, soles together, or big toes or heels together. Good. And then you lower that back down, holding the ankles. Let the elbows rest gently on the inner thigh, which helps release the groins a little, but we're not pushing. We're just getting just a little bit of natural sensation there. And we'll take it one more time, drawing it in, inhale. And exhale, release the stretch. Inhale, teardrop. Hands still holding the lower leg or the ankle as the feet rise to the sky. Good, and then the feet come down on the exhale. Nice, and then let that come down gently. The feet find the floor. And just breathe in and out one more time. We just take a pause. Good. And here you are feeling free to just continue to lay on the floor. And if you are called to, you can also just choose to roll onto your side. Rest your head on your upper arm. Good, and then using the strength of your arms to press yourself on up to a seat. Head is heavy and comes up last. And just taking a moment to get used to sitting upright again. It's a little sunnier out my window than when we started. That's sort of nice. We just take a moment to breathe. Good, and then we'll take our inhale in the center so that we can just take a few rotations with the torso. Inhaling up, exhaling around. It's so nice to lay on the floor together. So thanks for doing that with me. Inhaling up, exhaling around and forward. And then we come center. Let's take a few in the other direction. Inhale up, exhaling around. Yeah. Taking maybe one more. So this practice where we come rotating the hips and then the shoulders and the head, it draws the energy up from down in the pelvis and then up toward the path of enlightenment in the body is what the yogis say. Right now we're just doing a few rotations, but over some lifetimes, you never know, we might get an inspiration. Inhaling, let's bring the shoulders up and around and down on the exhale. But there's that kundalini energy. It's like a snake spiraled at the pelvis level, at that root chakra level. And what this does is gently bring the energy up. So inhaling and exhaling. If you hear some little noises, it's my cat playing with something. She's doing some accompaniment percussion. Inhaling up, exhaling down and around. Inhaling up and exhale around. Good. And then choosing an exhale to stay nice and low and relaxed with the shoulders. Inhaling, and then we have the head come around and forward. And up. And around and exhale. Inhale up. And up. There we go. And then change directions with that. Good. And we come back up to center with the head. Good. And then maybe just taking one moment for your yogi slideshow, something from your memory that you just love, that you just adore. You bring up that picture of that place or that time or that person, and you just let yourself bask in that sort of snapshot in your yogi slideshow. Just taking a minute for that. Good. And then if you had the eyes closed, just gently opening them, inhaling, draw the hands away from yourself, let the palms face up. In my camera, I'm going to just let this moment close the drapes. Let the palms face up. And exhaling, palms come together in front of the heart. And may we live like the lotus at home in the muddy waters. Thank you, everyone, for coming to class. So nice to see everybody. And I will see you next time.